There was a time when not knowing something didn't feel stressful. You couldn't look it up, you couldn't check, you just waited. If you grew up without the internet, silence felt normal. Boredom happened. Questions stayed unanswered until someone older, wiser, or louder showed up. Have you ever noticed how different that feels compared to today, where not knowing something for 10 seconds feels almost uncomfortable? The psychology of people who grew up without the internet isn't about nostalgia or being built different. It's about how early environments shaped attention, patience, memory, and the way the mind handles uncertainty. And yes, it's also why some people still instinctively try to figure things out before asking their phone. Old habits die hard. When information wasn't instantly available, thinking relied more heavily on memory, reasoning, and persistence. Questions didn't disappear with a quick search. They stayed open, sometimes for hours or days, forcing the mind to hold uncertainty and work through possibilities internally. This encouraged deeper cognitive engagement. Problem-solving happened step by step, without shortcuts. This doesn't mean thinking was better. It was slower and more contained. The mind learned to tolerate not knowing instead of immediately resolving uncertainty. That early training left lasting effects. Even today, many people instinctively try to reason things out before reaching for an external answer. An offline childhood also meant learning how to be bored, genuinely bored. There was no constant stream of content waiting to fill every empty moment. Boredom isn't just a lack of stimulation. It's a state where the mind either learns to generate engagement internally or becomes uncomfortable very quickly. For many people, boredom became a creative space. Imagination filled gaps. Games were invented. Stories were built out of very little. Modern psychology links this to stronger internal stimulation mechanisms. Instead of immediately seeking external input, the mind learned how to activate itself. Boredom wasn't enjoyable. It was simply endured. That tolerance matters because it trains the mind to sit with stillness without immediately needing relief. Before constant connectivity, most social interaction happened face-to-face. Conversations weren't paused, edited, or buffered by screens. They unfolded in real time, with all the awkwardness that comes with it. Over time, this strengthened sensitivity to nonverbal cues, tone, timing, facial expression, silence. Feedback was immediate and unavoidable. Disagreements had to be resolved without disappearing into message threads. Misunderstandings couldn't be softened by emojis. You stayed in the moment because there was nowhere else to go. This is also why some people still prefer talking things out in person. They learned communication back when going offline didn't mean avoiding the conversation, it just meant walking home. Limited access to information, entertainment, and communication also shaped how time itself was experienced. Waiting wasn't a failure of systems. It was part of daily life. Psychology describes this as delayed gratification, the ability to tolerate pauses between desire and reward. Anticipation became normal rather than frustrating. You waited for answers, you waited for people to call back, you waited for shows to be on at a specific time. That waiting trained patience in subtle ways. The mind learned to stay with anticipation without collapsing into irritation. This doesn't mean people were more disciplined. It means the environment required patience, and the mind adapted. Even now, constant immediacy can feel slightly unsettling to those shaped by slower rhythms. When answers weren't always available, information carried more weight. Knowledge wasn't endless or disposable. You relied on memory, experience, trusted sources, or authority. Figures, and learned to sit with uncertainty when clarity didn't arrive. This fostered a stronger epistemic filter. Information was evaluated rather than endlessly consumed, and not every question demanded an instant opinion. Freud believed the mind develops structure through limitation. Constraints deepen internal organization. In this context, limited access encouraged reflection before certainty. Many people shaped by this environment remain comfortable saying, "I don't know yet," and less driven to resolve every question. Knowledge wasn't infinite, and because of that, it mattered. Being shaped by a world without constant connectivity didn't make people wiser or better. It shaped how attention, patience, and uncertainty were handled. Attention learned to linger. Boredom was tolerated. Waiting became normal. Information carried weight instead of being endlessly replaceable. None of these traits are moral achievements. They're adaptations to conditions that trained the mind differently. That's why certain modern behaviors feel connected across different areas of life. The same psychology that prefers order before relaxation or needs specific conditions to focus often appears here too. Different habits, same pattern, regulating the mind through structure rather than constant stimulation. If you recognize yourself in this, it doesn't mean you're out of sync. It means your psychology was shaped by a slower, quieter rhythm that still influences how you think, wait, and decide today. That influence hasn't disappeared. It's simply navigating a much louder world,